Hi guys, happy Tuesday. So, alright, whoever's leaving recommendations for Dr. Ojo on my public page, fuck off. Fuck off. That's all I have to say about that. Alright, now we're gonna go back into the Egyptian deities, the gods and the goddesses of Egypt. So, it's incredible. So, here we go. Where did we leave off? Where did we leave off? Okay, now we have, wow, Sefket Abwi. I think this is where we left off, I'm not 100% sure. So well, here we go. Okay, so Sefket Abwi, also known as she who has 7 horns, was the Egyptian goddess of libraries. Okay, we already did this. And writing, so probably a form of Seshet. So she was depicted in human form as bearing a 7-point star or rosette on her head, below a bow-shaped object. Makes sense, doesn't it? I swear, some of these have been repeated. I mean, some of them just, refer to other ones, and it just confuses me. Alright, now we have Seshet. I think we've done Seshet already? Maybe? I am not 100% sure. Don't know. But Seshet is a very ancient goddess who was believed to be the sister and more commonly the wife of Thoth. Alright, so it was the deity of writing, obviously, and measurement until such functions were ascribed to her husband. She was called Lady of Books, or a celestial librarian, and was the patroness also of arithmetic, agriculture, and records. Although she shared these functions with Thoth, Seshet was essentially a royal deity belonging to the pharaohs alone. Thus, when temples, royal edifices, were being established, Seshet and the pharaoh were shown together, stretching the cord to measure their dimensions. As a recorder, she wrote down the name of the king on the leaves on the tree of life, near which she dwelt, thus giving him immortality. It's kind of like the Mark of Cain, getting the Mark of Cain for immortality. I don't know anything about that much, but I do like the Mark of Cain, for some odd reason. Okay, now where did I go? Alright, now, and she marked the duration of the king's earthly life on the notched palm branch that she carried, having calculated the length of his days. Now, in this capacity, she seemed to have associations with Anubis. So, the deity was generally depicted as a woman wearing a flower or a star emblem on her head, together with the usurus of her royal connections. Seshet was dressed in a leopard skin and held a pen and a scribe's ink palette. I like that. A little feather one, a quill pen. That would be amazing. I'm going to start doing that. I'm really going to start doing that. Alright, now we have... Did we do Seth already? I'm pretty sure we did do Seth. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think we did, but... Alright, Seth or Set. So, was among the first 9 deities in the Heliopolitan theological system, probably originating from Libya. So... whose followers have appeared to have worshipped him under a crocodile hippopotamus fetishes. At first they were centered in Upper Egypt, but later spread throughout the country. So, there seemed to be no rivalry between the cults of Osiris and Isis and his cult. So, perhaps because the people thought that they were all the same family, since Seth was the 3rd child of Nu, born on the 3rd intercalary day, he married his twin sister Nephthys. Geb was his father, and his siblings were Isis and Osiris. So as a deity, he generally represented hostility and violence, and therefore was typically associated with Semitic war goddesses, including Anat and Astarte. So, I think we've done all this. I really don't know, though. So, according to legend, he violently tore himself from his mother's womb. She is depicted in human form as possessing a head of an animal that possibly resembles an aardvark, with erected ears and a curving snout. He also is depicted in animal, which bears no resemblance to any living creature, but has a stuffy erected tail. Other animals symbolizing this god, include the oryx, pig boar, crocodile, and hippopotamus, when being a disruptive element in a river. So Seth is mostly recognized for the part he played in the Osirian legend, in which he battled 84 years with Osiris' son, Horus. So the assembly of gods judged Horus the victor, but during the battle, Seth tore Horus's left eye out. Alright, which became the Eye of Horus, and this legend was further recorded in the pyramid text and later popularized and embellished by the Greek writer Plutarch. So in another myth, Seth is credited for having saved Ra, who was about to be swallowed up by Apophis. Yeah, we did, because Apophis, the devouring worm. The preliminary hostile serpent of the underworld. The Book of the Dead accredits Seth as being the lord of the northern sky. So that would be the northern sky there. That I had to remind myself where that was. Who controls the storms, clouds, and thunder? Alright, well, Seth, keep them all away from me, please. Thank you, I love you. Politically, Seth gained supremacy during the Hyksos occupation of the Delta, because these Semitic invaders adopted him as their god, but unlike the pharaohs, they regarded him as the only god and attempted to impose his cult on the rest of Egypt, which retained its independence. So then the Hyksos, the rulers of the foreign lands, found Seth similar to their own Baals. When Pharaoh Amosis reunited Egypt after the expulsion of the Hyksos about 1570 BC, the other Egyptian gods were restored. However, an indirect legacy of Seth's elevation perhaps was attempted Amemphasis IV to replace all gods with Aton, the solar disk. So, it does make sense. It seems like they were trying to go towards more of a not a polytheist, but a monotheistic religion. So, Sesmu. Now we have Sesmu. So, Sesmu was a minor Egyptian deity of wine and oil presses. Ooh. That'd be a good one to work with for certain things. He was recognized from around 3000 BC to 400 AD. Wow. He was depicted as a lion, but more generally in human form. Now, Sesmu had a definite cult following in the fertile Phalian region of the Nile Valley, but was probably represented in most sanctuaries, particularly where ritual unguents were made and stored. So he was recognized in both benign and malevolent roles. Now, in the latter, he was reputed to have squeezed human heads like grapes. But in a beneficent mood, he provided aromatic oils and ointments. Yeah, the squishing of the heads like grapes is not very pleasing. Wouldn't want that. Now we have Su. So, Su, or Shu, was the primordial Egyptian air god, and the firstborn of the creator sun god Atum. So, he is one of the first 9 deities in the Heliopolitan theological system. He and his sister and consort Tefnu begot the next divine pair, Geb, the earth god, and Nu, the sky goddess. So Shu is frequently depicted as standing on the supine body, holding Nu aloft in raised arms. You can find this image everywhere. It's very, very distinct. He can also be one of the several manifestations of the Eye of Ra, and take the form of a lion, as can his sister. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. So, now we have Tefnu. Now Tefnu, primordial Egyptian goddess of moisture, I hate that word, is one of the first 9 deities in the Heliopolitan theological system. According to the genealogy of the priests of Heliopolis, she was created from the breath or saliva of the creator god's son, or the creator sun god Atum. She is the sister and consort of Shu and mother of Geb and Nut. Her main cult sanctuary was in Heliopolis. So Tefnut, like Shu, can be one of several manifestations of the Eye of Ra. As such, she appeared either as a lion in a human form, according to the pyramid texts. She created pure water from her vagina. Yeah, you can have that water. I don't want that water. In a different context, she took the form of a snake, encircling the scepter. Okay, I like that better. You can find that on the, you can find that actually on the Hierophant tarot card. Wow, that's interesting. Now we have Thoth. Oh, I'm happy. I love Thoth. I do. I love Thoth. That's my main god. Now Thoth, the scribe of the ancient Egyptian gods, was the chief deity of Kum, or Hermopolis. So he was conceived as either having the head of an ibis, or a baboon, or of a baboon. It's not bamboo, it's baboon. Thoth is usually depicted as an ibis-headed man with a pen and ink holder. So he became known as the god of the foundation of law, mystical wisdom, magic learning, hieroglyphic writing, arithmetic, and astrology. Thus, he was called the Lord of the Divine Books and Scribe of the Company of Gods. So, the symbolic meaning of the ibis, although this exact meaning has not been discovered, is thought to be associated with healing. So, sometimes Thoth is portrayed as a baboon-headed man holding a crescent moon. I love Thoth. Amazing. I mean, amazing deity. So loving, caring, warm, kind. It's just incredible. It really is. Alright. Okay. According to legend, Thoth, both a healer and a magician, restored the Eye of Horus that was torn to bits when the latter fought his uncle Set, to revenge the death of his father Osiris. The Eye of Horus, also known as the Ujat Eye, became a funerary amulet and a magical all-seeing eye. Thoth was the patron god of the occultists of ancient Egypt, and was petitioned in many of the spells contained in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So he rules over lots. I mean, he is like one of the main major gods of Egypt. I love it. So, such as the opening of the mouth spell to reanimate a corpse, which was recited over a mummy by a high priest. So, I don't know if that's even possible. I mean, I'm sure such things are. I just don't think we personally have the power to do so. If we did, I think, it'd be a lot better. Well, no, we'd be overpopulated if we could raise the dead. So, alright, now, it was the Greeks who associated their god Hermes with Thoth. That the two were almost indistinguishable. So Thoth, or Hermes, became identified with Hermes Trismegistus, the alleged author of the Hermetic books on occult, philosophical, and religious subjects. The Hermetica, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. So, good stuff. Now, again, according to legend, Thoth/Hermes gave to his successors the Book of Thoth, or the key to immortality, which contained the secret processes for the regeneration of humanity and the expansion of consciousness that would enable mankind to behold the gods. So there are stories or theories concerning the Book of Thoth. Some may say at first it was kept in a temple in a sealed golden box and used in the ancient mysteries. When the practice of these mysteries declined, it was carried to another unknown land, where it still exists after being safely preserved, and it is still leads disciples to the presence of the immortals. Others hold the Book of Thoth is actually the tarot. That is incredible, because you can, through the major arcana, I mean, a person in prison, if they had the major arcana to read or to actually interpret and see what's going on in the outside world, they would know everything that's going on in the outside world. So it's pretty interesting. So yeah, Thoth is just amazing. I love Thoth. Alright, now we have the Wajwur. So Wajwur, also called the Mighty Green One, the Green Man, was an Egyptian fertility god. Sometimes he was depicted as an androgynous form personifying the Mediterranean Sea, or the major lakes of the Nile Delta. He is depicted as carrying the Ankh and a loaf. So the figure often appears pregnant and is associated with the richness of the Nile Delta waters. Okay, so there are so many different Egyptian deities that literally, I mean, we don't know. So Baphomet, I mean, there are connections to Egypt with Baphomet, and I'm still not finding that, so I have no clue what is going on here. That's pretty, I mean, that's not it at all. At all. So we have the Heliopolitan theological system. So the Heliopolitan theological system declares that in the beginning there was nothing but immense chaos. Nun, thought to be an ocean or shapeless magma containing none the less potential life. Now, in this chaos, there had been a conscious principle in existence since antiquity began. Now, the god Atum, whose name means the whole, the complete, emphasized his abstract and somewhat metaphysical nature. So, this god was the first of a divine line, which each ensuring generation representing one aspect or element of the universe, along and without any female counterpart. Atum succeeded in fertilizing himself to produce the first divine couple, Shu and Tefnut. Shu or Su was the personification of air in the sense of the void, and also the sense of a life-giving substance, whereas his sister and consort, Tefnut, whose role was less clearly defined, represented the moisture in the atmosphere. Now, from this first couple came Geb, the earth god, and Nu, the sky goddess, making the second couple. Shu, or Su, was depicted standing in between the two, raising and holding the body of the sky goddess above the earth god. From the couple came the other four divinities, Osiris and Isis, Seth and Nephthys. So this Heliopolitan system continued until there were 8 gods, 9 including Atum ruling the universe. Now, Atum eventually became associated with Ra, the major Egyptian sun god. So this theological system, which began in the delta at Heliopolis, not far from the head of the delta, was very well accepted because Atum could easily be made chief god in a local area, or a local goddess could become his consort, which eventually increased the Egyptian pantheon. And there are tons. I mean, it is wild that how many there actually are right now. It's amazing. So the acceptance of the sun god Ra/Atum greatly fitted the mindset of the ancient Egyptians living along the Nile. The sun was seen at the bark crossing the ocean of the sky in the daytime, and at the night boat which carried from one crucial point to the other to begin his journey across the sky again. In this way, the people thought the sun god's journey was uninterrupted. So, it's the traversing of, the sun, just the celestials. So that is the Heliopolitan, Heliopolitan theological system. Now we have the Hermopolitan theological system. Now the Hermopolitan theological system originated in Hermopolis in Middle Egypt, the seat of Thoth, the god of writing and science. Now, the Hermopolitan theology is referred to in the pyramid texts several times, indicating that it was originated at a fairly early date. The distinctive feature of this system in its abstract character, whereas the Heliopolitan cosmogony describes the gradual formulation of the universe in stages. So, the Hermopolitan sees the universe as emerging from 4 elements of chaos, or 4 attributes of chaos itself, on the primeval hillock, which the text referred to as the Island of Flame. 4 gods appeared simultaneously, each with his feminine counterpart. There were Nun and Nonet, the god and the goddess of the primeval ocean, He and Hehek, god and goddess of the immeasurable, whose mission it was to raise the sun, Kek and Keket, god and goddess of darkness, producing the gloom of night, which I love, in which the light would shine forth, and finally Amun and Amunet, the god and goddess of mystery, or of the hidden. I love this. So, these last 2 deities were known as Niu and Niunet, or nothingness, who represented the invisible but active breath of air. So yes, riding on the breath, and if you read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, it definitely shows you a lot of what rides upon the breath. You create with the breath, so it's pretty amazing. Alright, where did I go? So by their unison of action, these elementary principles brought into existence the solar star. They were called the fathers and mothers of the created light. So they raised the sun in the sky so that it, in turn, could create and sustain all beings in the universe. So the 4 primary gods with their consort, constituted the Ogdod, or the Ogdod of the 8 gods. So, the male gods were depicted as having heads of frogs, a symbolism that the idea that the frogs seem to rise from mud, representing apparent self-creation. So, while the corresponding goddesses had heads of serpents, which represented having affinities for the depths of the earth. Now, because of their theological belief, Hermopolis was called the City of 8, Kun. Hermopolis was also responsible for the myth that the sun was like a lotus flower rising from the ocean waters, which enjoyed great popularity throughout Egypt. Now that is amazing. That's beautiful. All of that is so freaking beautiful. Now we have actually gone through a lot. We've done the entire series of the Egyptian gods, goddesses, names of ancient Egypt, and this is amazing. This is really amazing. I wish it would go into more detail on the Hermopolitan and the Heliopolitan theological systems. But, I mean, that is just incredible. That really is incredible. I love it. I'm obsessed with history. Which is why I cannot watch anything on television about the lost passages of the Bible, because, yeah, it's me talking to the TV, and everybody else is like, how do you know that? How do you know that? Because I've read it, the Bible, 3 times. And that was really depressing. So you guys all knew when I went back and did that whole, God versus Satan, that really, for weeks I was depressed after reading the Bible. So that would be my 4th time, actually. I was just very depressed. I felt very, very down. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to get out of bed. I just felt completely overwhelmed by this giant blanket of sadness, hatred, all kinds of weird mixed emotions. And I honestly did not want to live. So if that says anything, geez. It's supposed to be a book that's supposed to help people. No, it's just terrible. Terrible. Alright, guys. Yeah, I love you all very much. I hope you guys have a great day. I can't wait till this freaking crap is over with so I can do my hair. I have no hair color. I'm gonna go crazy. But anyways, Burns the Dragon, if you guys have noticed, I have been posting his stuff all over the place. He is the best. So, if you guys would, just subscribe to him, Josh Burns. He is, yes, Burns the Dragon here. Very the Silver Man. He's very incredible. Love the guy. He's very into the body modifications, everything. And I do think he was in American Mary. So, yes, check him out. Amazing. So, alright, guys, I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for Witchy Wednesday. All my love, all the way from Venus. Always. All the way back down. There we go. Alright, guys, I love you all, and thank you guys for watching and just being amazing. And yeah, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.